Oh, no, we're directly on time. There we go. Got me chilling, smoking a cigarette. Just heated up my tea. Having problems with the lightning crystal box, having it built. Because if I'm going to build it, I have to fly down there, which means I have to find someone to take care of my inside cats, my dogs, and my outside cats. I have to fly down there, buy the stuff, build it, then fly back. He said he could find a carpenter. My partner said he could find a carpenter down there, but apparently carpenters like mobile working telecommuting, I guess, and he's having problems getting someone to actually do the job. So the thing that's holding me up right now is having the box built by someone down there, and I don't have the cash right now to go down there to build it myself because it'll cost about $2,000 for me to get down there. Plus, it'll cost me about another $500 to build the box, so it'll be $2,500 about to get me down there. Rental car, hotel, plane ticket, just to build it. So when my partner said he could find someone, I was like, hey, that saves me $2,500. Well, 2,000. I'll send him 500 for the materials and pay the guy. But he's having problems finding someone to build it. Yeah, it's chilly here, but I don't have anything underneath. All I have on is the hood. I just woke up and it was right there, so I threw it on because it was kind of cold. I probably could get away with the short sleeve, but I'd be a little chilly if I did that right now. It's slightly overcast and windy. I live on top of the first hill off of the North Bay. But yeah, the problem. So my partner Steve said that even though he has 3 autistic kids, he's going to try and build it himself. So it's going to take a little while. But once the first one gets built, have him fill it with just generic white sand and give it a shot. And I don't know. I kind of sort of I don't know. I don't know how things are going to play out, MJ. I really don't. My financing's not looking good. So yeah, I don't trying to create artwork without being there is rather difficult. But that's what I'm doing. I'm going to try to do. He's down. He's very interested. He sees the potential. He's all on board. It's just our lives are complicated, and I'm poor. So if I had like $10,000, it'd be no problem. I'd give someone $500, take care of the cats, fly down there, take care of the shit, fly back here. But then again, if I had that kind of money, I'd have already paid the $9,000 I owe still on my patent, which I had to stop paying on because I lost my job. So I got a lot of things in the fire, and they'll happen on God's times. I keep trying. I'll keep working to get them going, but it's just apparently it's not time right now. Universe, God, nothing's lining up right now. But when it does line up, it will happen, and it'll be a good thing. But that's not what this is about. This is about brics. And I wanted to introduce someone to a thought process because everyone's jumping. And I think everyone's getting psyched out that brics is an actual currency that's going to be backed by some stuff. And that's an interesting concept. But you guys obviously haven't watched my videos. India is working with the World Central Bank and the IMF to become a reserve currency. Said it would take them several years because they had to get enough physical cash, their rupee, out to different countries to hold in reserves to use so they could be a reserve currency. brics doesn't even have a freaking bill one out there. So how can they be a reserve currency? So everyone's getting it wrong, in my opinion, and I could be talking out my ass. I could be wrong, but I have a feeling that brics is only going to start out as being everyone that's in brics can freely trade their currency with other countries in brics, to where you don't have to use the US dollar as an exchange. That's brics. That's simple. They don't have to come up with a currency. They don't have to back it with anything. They just need to have several countries that are willing to trade between themselves using their own currencies. That cuts the dollar out, because right now they have to use the dollar to do that. And no one's thinking about this. They're all thinking, oh, they miraculously came up with 7 trillion bills, divided them amongst the brics countries so they could all use this new currency in whatever. again, if you watch my videos, you'll find out India's been trying to be a reserve currency for a couple of years now, and they're still working on it. And it's taken them a couple of years, and they still don't have enough physical rupee in other countries to be considered a reserve currency. So for BRICS to become a reserve currency, they all have to have the same bill, same physical. They can't have the yuan. They can't have the South African Krugerrand or whatever it's called. They can't have the Brazilian money. They all have to be on the same money system. Has anyone seen that happen? Has anyone talked about them? Oh yeah, they came up with new artwork for a new bill, and they're going to be giving all this money bills to all these countries that are in BRICS so they can be considered a reserve currency and trade in that bill backed by commodities. I've heard him talk about it being backed by commodities, oil, blah, 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 blah. But seriously, where's the money? Follow the money. Where's the money? Show me the money. As Tom Cruise said, show me the money. Where is the BRICS currency? Where is the currency? Where is the physical paper currency that BRICS has come up with to back with gold and other commodities? Anybody? Anybody seen it? Anyone heard anything about it? Any seen some pictures of it? Heard of a printing press minting the fuck out of new bills that are going to be distributed to the 5 BRICS nations across the world that they're going to use to trade with each other? Yeah, crickets. That's because it's not happening. So if that's not happening, they don't have a new physical bill that they're going to be backing crap with. It's all talk and bullshit, in my opinion. What's going to happen is BRICS is going to come out and say, everyone that's in BRICS currently right now can freely trade without using the dollar between them each other. In other words, Brazil can trade with South Africa using the Brazilian money and the South African money. Brazil doesn't have to buy the dollar and use the dollar to transact with South Africa. It's that simple, in my opinion. I think everyone's blowing this thing out of proportion. I think everyone's getting like thrown off. And the reason why I say this is because I know India's been working to be a reserve currency, and IMF and the World Central Bank said you don't have enough physical paper money out there to be that yet. You need to print more and give it to these other countries. And see, that in and of itself is a logistical nightmare, because how are you going to give countries money? You're just going to give it to them, print it up and give it to them. That's not how it works. There's a lot more to it. So, I don't know. I see it being the announcement that they're going to make is that they can all freely trade using their own currencies between other BRICS nations. And that cuts the dollar out. But it's not the death of the dollar. The dollar, just like in 1971, will revert to another source and remain where it's at as the world reserve currency. There might have to be some sort of reset, because from my understanding, lots of other countries have been facing hella inflation for a long time. And the last one to feel it is the dollar, and we're starting to feel it. So that means that the whole monetary cycle of the world's changing. And they're going to reset, probably. And we're going to go like in 1971, where we went off. The dollar was a dollar. It was still a dollar back in 1971. Let me see if I have one on me here. Yeah, this right here back in 1971 could be spent in 1972, yet we changed currencies. We changed currency. One day this was backed by gold. The next day it wasn't backed by gold, but we still used it, and it was a new currency. I mean, I just think people are unrealistic in their expectations of the dramatic moves that governments and world banks can make without war. And and that's how you'll be able to tell if we're going to have a reset of the physical metals and the prices, and new shit's going to happen, is if wars break out. Because that happens when financial collapses of currencies occur. That's how I know it's not going to happen in America. Because we did not have a financial collapse, or we did in 1971, and we just changed currencies. Same money, just, I guess, paperwork-wise, changed currencies. Not exactly sure. I'm sure there's a lot of dynamics to it happening. But on the main level of America, where everyone else sees it, where 99% of the people are living, we went from a dollar bill to a dollar bill. In 1970, dollar bill. 1971, dollar bill. 1972, new dollar, dollar bill. How's it going to be different this time? without war. And that's how you're going to know it's going to be different this time. So if it's not going to be different this time, there's not going to be a war, which means the BRICS countries will only do transactions between BRICS countries using individual monies of that in particular country to trade with another BRICS country. That's all it is. Cutting out the dollar as the middleman. So, but that's just my opinion. And I had to get that out because I think everyone's seeing things wrong. I think everyone's getting a gold fever. And it's not going to, I don't think it's going to happen personally, because I don't see any moves being made like printing of new currency. Where is the new currency? Where is the BRICS currency? Where's the picture of it? Who's shown it? Who's seen it? Who's talking about it? No one. Okay, well then there's no new currency. So what is BRICS currency? There is no BRICS currency. The BRICS system is going to be a trade system. I've said this in my past videos. Trade deals, tariffs, treaties, they're all being redone right now. And that's why this is happening. And here's a future prediction. Germany was the defense line against the Soviet Union before, during, and after the Cold War. Germany was the front line. Poland is now the front line. When Ukraine loses and admits that they've lost, because if you watch my videos, I did a video with the head general of the Ukrainian army. He said, yeah, we lost. It's just the politicians don't know it yet. And we're losing 500 men a day. I think it was 500 men a day are dying. And he says, we can't replace them. It's only a matter of time before we are extinguished of soldiers and ultimate defeat. That was from the lead general of the Ukrainian army. And I've already done a video where I showed you people the map of how Russia is going to break up the Ukraine. And Poland's getting a large chunk of it. 3 countries are going to get a large chunk, are going to increase their territories by the breakup of Ukraine, including Russia. Ukraine will still be around. It'll just be from this down to about that. And Poland's going to get a lot of that territory and be a divider line between Russia and NATO. Poland is the second largest military with attack helicopters. They have 62 attack Apache helicopters. They bought them from America. If you watch my videos again, I told you about that. And they also ordered like $5.6 billion in new tanks from South Korea about a year ago. I did a video on that. That's showing that Poland's going to be the new defense line from NATO to Russia. Russia doesn't want a war with them, so when they take over Ukraine, and if you'd realize a couple months ago when I did that report, Poland, Germany, and all these countries started to back off the sanctions of Russia because when the Russian Putin showed them the map, hey, this is how we plan on breaking up. You guys are going to get free land. You guys are going to get free land. You guys are going to get free land. We're going to get a little bit, and all the problems are going to be taken care of. It doesn't need to be any war past that. And all these other countries agreed. Then Poland said, yeah, we're dropping sanctions. Then Germany and all these other countries started dropping sanctions. So, hey, what's up, John Beathy? And that's probably what BRICS is going to be. It's going to be basically a free trade zone of countries in BRICS, of commodities, goods, services, cash, but in their own currency with another country in the BRICS union that accepts their own currency, because that's the BRICS currency. It's 5 currencies. The Brazilian currency, it's the South African currency, it's the Indian currency, it's the Russian currency, and it's the Chinese currency. Those are the 5 BRICS currencies that'll be freely traded amongst the 5 BRICS nations. We're having a total reset of the world. Again, I did a video a long time ago about treaties and trades and all these things having to come up for renegotiation. This is what it looks like. That's why one reason why Turkey is having so many financial problems right now between the West and Russia is because they want to build another canal for Russia to allow the Russians' warships to go through the new canal in Turkey to the Mediterranean, because the canal they have, I don't recall the name of it right now, the Phosphorus Straits or something like that, between Turkey and Greece. The treaties on that state that Russian warships cannot go through that canal to the Mediterranean. That's one reason why America is a superpower and not Russia, because they didn't waste their money on ships because they had no access to the world's shipping lanes. If this new canal gets finished through Turkey, there's no treaties on that for Russia not using it for warships, which will allow Russian warships into the Mediterranean, into the Atlantic, and all the rest of the world. These things are changing right now. Everything is being treated. It's a forecast. They've seen it in the future. They knew it was coming up. The people who know. and they knew that treaties were coming up to renegotiation. So they positioned themselves for better bargaining chips at the board so that they can get a better deal. Russia decided to build another canal. They've already started building that other canal through Turkey. The West decided Turkey was going to suffer financially for it. Thus, the weaponization of the dollar, obviously. But all these things tell me that people just don't want to use the dollar because it's a weaponization thing for political means by whoever's in office at the time. So the BRICS nations are going to come out and they're going to say, we are going to use trade of our own currencies amongst ourselves, cutting out the dollar. That's the BRICS currency, for if that's a currency. Are they going to come up with a new paper bill backed by gold, silver, oil, grains? No, because I have not seen it. I have not heard anyone talk about it. And if you watch my videos, the World Reserve Bank and IMF are working with India to make the rupee a reserve currency. And what they told them is make more CDBC. You need more CDBC out there. No, they didn't say that. They said specifically, you need more physical rupees in other countries. They didn't say CDBCs. So the World Bank's not telling the next reserve currency country, India, to do CDBCs. So that's a bullshit fuck over on Americans for a power grab and theft from the politicians. That's all CDBC is. Guarantee that. The whole country, the whole world is not on board with it. The IMF and the World Central Bank are not on board with it because everyone has to be on board on the same page on this planet. Do you see Iran agreeing with us? Do you see Venezuela agreeing with us? Do you see Russia agreeing with us? Oh, okay. No? Well, there you go. We're not ready yet. So there's they're going to try and push a CDBC, but it's only going to be in America, and it's only the last bastion of power grab from the elites that are in office now before they get booted out of office. In my opinion only. All of what I'm saying is only my opinion. No facts back up that there is not going to be a BRICS currency because, hey, it could be the world's best kept secret. And they're killing everyone who finds out about it so that we don't find out about it. But until I see a bill that says, hey, this is the BRICS bill right here. All those countries are going to be using this, and this is backed by gold, silver, and other commodities. If they don't have that, what the hell are they got? What do they have? Well, they only have agreements, treaties amongst themselves to take away the use of the dollar. In which case, if you look at India and IMF and the World Bank saying you need more of your money, your physical dollar bills in foreign countries to be held so you can be a reserve currency. So if BRICS decides to use that country's currency to transact with the other 5 BRICS countries, they get to send those dollar bills home. Thus, chickens come home to roost is what people are talking about. And that is what BRICS is about. It's not about, they don't have to come up with a new bill to kill the dollar. All they have to do is come up with a trade agreement amongst BRICS nations not to use the dollar that they have to use now because it's a world reserve currency and they have extra ones in their banks so they can do transactions. So South Africa can take their money, trade it for the dollar bill that they have in their reserves, do a deal with China. China can take the US dollar bills and give South Africa their goods and services, or vice versa. What BRICS is going to do is take out the middleman or the dollar and say, basically, South Africa can use South African money to trade with China. You do not need the dollar bill. Send all those dollar bills back to America. Has anyone thought of that? I'm just saying, don't be surprised if that's exactly what happens. I'm having very little interaction here. I got Mickey, John, and MJ, and it seems like y'all are making coffee or something here. Do you agree? Do you disagree with my perspective on what I see as a BRICS currency coming around, or a BRICS trade agreement between the BRICS countries not to use the dollar and use their own money? And that is actually going to be the BRICS currency, the 5 currencies. Oh, sorry. Great. Thank you, MJ. Intently listening like a good student. You get an A. We're gonna go on recess soon. Again, if you look at it, peoples, on all the reports I did, and I give other videos for backing, the IMF and the World Central Banks lay out a plan on how to become a reserve currency. To do that, They're talking with India right now, have been for a year or so, 2 years. They say they need more rupees out there, more physical dollars of the Indian dollars out there to be considered a reserve currency, because that means other countries will be using your money to do international trades with, which means other countries value your money and have faith and confidence in your money over the country they're dealing with. That's reserve currency. So you have to be independent and a strong economy and all this other crap. And you have to have countries wanting to hold your bills in their reserves to use for that. A way to get out from underneath America's thumbprint, pushing down using the dollar's representation, is to say you no longer need to use the dollar for trade. Send the dollars home. The BRICS countries will trade in their own currencies with other BRICS countries. It's that simple. They don't have to do anything complex or anything. That's all they have to do. And then you have 5 countries sending home all their dollar bills that they have in their banks. Here you go, America. And what do they say? That's 40% of the world's population sending their money, the American dollar, back to America. And that, so if you think what I'm saying makes sense, look for investment opportunities based off of that line of thought, and not off of the line of thought of they're going to have all, Brazil's getting secretly shipped 50 trillion new BRICS bills. South Africa secretly being shipped, all this freaking money for a BRICS currency. The other 3 countries, India, China, and Russia, are side by side. They could easily truck the money. The only problem with that is China's not, or India's not allowing any Chinese through their border right now. They actually just bought 31 Predator drones to guarantee the Chinese don't come across their border. And the Chinese actually built 2 military airports and put 200,000 people on the Indian border, saying, I think we're going to use your border as we want. So I don't see India and China really working together to receive a brand new currency. What I do see them doing is working economically for the benefit of both of them, even though they have political and military differences, to continue trade and commerce while affecting the dollar and getting out of the thumb of the weaponization of the dollar. But that is just my opinion. It's quite possible they will, William. I have not heard it. See, I had a lot closer ties with Tesla when Tesla was out here in Fremont. It's like 30 miles down the road. I knew guys that would work there and would hearsay, and would be able to keep up with what the company was doing that way. But when the company moved to Texas, I lost that option. So I don't know exactly. And I don't really care about Tesla. So I don't keep up with them. But I'm sure it would be a very, very great advantage for them to get in there and start building cars before other car companies get in there and do it. So it's a smart move on Elon's part. But he needs to switch from electric and maybe do electric hybrid hydrogen engine combo, because I think hydrogen engines are actually going to be the future for personal transportation. And I think SMRs, small modular reactors, will be the nuclear, will be the power of individual cities. Because if the power grid is going down in all these countries, it's going to be for individual cities, counties, and states to power themselves. Then it's going to be SMRs, which is small modular nuclear reactors, which counties and cities and states can easily afford. I think $135 million gets you a 35 megawatt powered SMR, which powers quite a few cities. And then you use your hydrogen cars to where you don't need to use any more energy to go around locally. That's my vision. Yeah, that's Marco Polo and the Silk Road is what you're talking about, John. That's where they traded all the spices, all the silks, everything that went down that road. And it was the only secure road into China back then, by the way. You'd get killed if you entered it in China any other way. If you have 40% more money, okay, William, that's a good question. What I would say is we'd probably fall into somewhat of a hyperinflationary, and I'm going to fall off someone else's, what they said was, and it's the economic ninja, he said he sees hyperinflation in food and energy here in America. So and William's question is, what do you recommend as an investment opportunity in the USA if we have 40% more U.S. money in the system. Now, that's a hyperinflationary event. And what I would suggest is PMs, precious metals, obviously. Yeah, but see now what people now everyone stops their thinking right there. Hey, how's it going, Jonathan? Everyone stops their thinking right there. Oh my God, hyperinflation, we're gonna have too many bills. But see, the problem is, and this is the next problem, it's not going to be our problem, it's going to be the world's problem. There's 5 BRICS nations that are going to be sending all those dollars back to America. We'll see when we get a new administration that's more American friendly and pro-American, and we go back to being great, without saying any names or anyone, and I don't care who it is. We just need different leadership that's more in line to making America a better place, not a worse place. And once we get a leader that does that, all the infrastructure is already in place for us to start producing shale oil. Shale oil's byproduct is natural gas. So America's going to be filled with natural gas and oil for sale to the world. And those 5 BRICS nations that are going to be doing commerce between themselves, using their own money systems and getting rid of all their reserve currency dollar bills, like you said there, William, they're going to be wanting those back, or they're going to be paying a heavier price for the oil and natural gas, which is only going to make America wealthier. So in all actuality, what they're doing now is shooting themselves in the foot. We're going to feel the pain. Sure. Yeah. Nothing ever happens without pain. But in the long term, 2 years being a long-term figure, America's going to be selling oil and natural gas to the world. So if they don't have those dollars and they're sending them home now for us to roost on them, because I'll remember, and I will call my congressman and senator to say, hey, didn't they economically have a war with us and totally screwed us? And me personally, I got affected by this. So why are we selling them cheap shit? Let's increase the price to them. They don't have dollars. Let's charge them a surcharge to get the dollars back, and then charge them extra for the oil and natural gas. So we benefit 3 times, not just one, only for BRICS nations who are choosing to try and cut the throat of American finances right now. Because when it all comes down to it, it's not America's fault. It's the elite that stole the leadership of this country. And it was a long-term plan. And it didn't happen overnight. It's been going on for about 40 years at least. Probably longer. William. What would using hydrogen as a fuel do to our atmosphere? It would fill it with more water. It would fill it with more water. Now the hybrid hydrogen gas engines, or hydrogen diesel engines, for which Cummins is actually building the hydrogen diesel hybrid engine, and they're quitting manufacturing of their regular diesel engines. I did a video on that as well. If you cut out the diesel part of it, then emissions goes away totally. The fact that they're adding hydrogen to a diesel or a car engine would only increase mileage and decrease emissions of the pollutant from the fuel, the gas or the diesel engines. But as far as the hydrogen part of it, the only byproduct for the hydrogen part of it is water. And they're actually only doing that for profit margin, or else they'd turn out a pure hydrogen engine. And it is going to be a hydrogen engine, because I spoke with James Anderson of SD Bullion a couple months ago, and I asked him about hydrogen. He said he didn't know much about it, but what he did know was the EU was spending hundreds of millions of dollars putting in infrastructure for local cars to be used hydrogen. In other words, they're putting in hydrogen fueling pumps all throughout Europe, and no one is reporting it in the news. Just saying. Wouldn't it change the breathable air? No, with global warming, if you put more water in there, what you have is a perfect environment for trees and plants to grow and create oxygen, because you'll have a hot, humid world. And you'll go back to the Jurassic period, where all the plants were flourishing and everything was good. And no, that's not going to happen. I'm just joking. But it will decrease the amount of carbon in the air from cars. And quite frankly, for everyone who hates that people do this, I challenge you to suck on one of these till it's gone, and then time it. See how long it takes, how many inhalations, how much time you have, and spend that exact much amount of time inhaling from a tailpipe of a car, and see if you're not dead. And tell me which one pollutes more, which one's more harmful to you. So next time you go to a car to pick up your kid at school, and there's like 300 cars all running, just sitting there in the parking lot, ask yourself what you're doing to your kids' brains as they're coming out and they're getting into cars, because that whole freaking area is filled with carbon dioxide, especially if it's in a lower lying area. But people don't want to talk about that. They'd rather talk about cigarettes, demonize me while they're killing their kids' brain cells. Anyhow, on another subject. Yeah, oh no, that's it. It would change the breathable air for the better, because what it would actually probably do is it probably increase the negative connection that actually sometimes occurs from the Earth that causes lightning, because what happens is, even though the Earth is generally neutral, it does have a negative charge every now and then, because if you take a camera and you're able to videotape a lightning strike at 1,000 frames per second, and you break it down and look at one of those frames, you'll see a little blue spark coming up from the ground, and then you'll see a very, very light, faint spark coming from the cloud. And as soon as those two touch, boom, that's where you get the boom, and you'll see the physical lightning coming down from the sky to the earth. That's why lightning puts off a different sound if you see it going from cloud to cloud, because it doesn't have the negative charge there, so it's not going to have that boom sound. But I've seen it. It's cool. Yep. Yeah, they're working on it. Yes, Harry, yes. They're working on being a reserve currency, and to do that, they need more countries to have their rupee. It's 100% correct. Thank you, Henry. Thank you. It sucks, but I knew I was right. That's why I came on the live stream. I had to let you guys know that I think you're being deceived. And that's why you come to Neil's Han Dynasty, because I tell you my opinion, the way I see it, and the way I see it ain't the way they're feeding it to you. And that's why I wanted to do this live stream, to get people in here, to give you my vision of what I know of what's going to happen, and not these other BS artists who are trying to sell you PMs, which, hey, PMs are great. I love PMs. I've got some. I got shitloads of PMs. I don't want to go get them right now, but I got shitloads of, not shitloads, but for the average American, I got shitloads. So you guys probably got more than me, but it's not that. I just don't want people being bullshitted. I don't care if it's good for my channel or bad for my channel. I just want to try and get you guys what I perceive as the truth and the way things are going to happen. That's all. No, BRICS money will be the Brazilian money, the South African money, the Indian rupee, the Chinese yuan, and the Russian money. All 5 of those monies are the BRICS money. And what the BRICS money is it's actually not money. What it is it's a way for those 5 countries to ditch their dollar reserves that they have, so that because they had to use the dollar as a trading source to get goods and services to other countries. And the BRICS nations are joining together saying, we don't need to use the dollar. We'll use our own money between ourselves for trade. And that means 5 countries get to send all the US dollars back. And according to, I guess, William, that'll be about 40% more actual physical dollars coming back to our country. Because as a video I did earlier, India is working on being a reserve currency, and the IMF and central banks told them they had to have more physical rupees in other countries' banks to be held in reserves, so that they can use those currencies as a unit of trade with other countries that also trust the rupee. So by BRICS, you saying they're going to own only the 5 BRICS nations, or however many are going to be in there in the end, they don't have to use the dollar to transact between those countries. They still have to use the dollar. Now, see, here's the tricky part, William. They still have to use the dollar to transact with countries outside of the BRICS system. So all those dollars are not going to be coming home. Maybe half of them. Because they're only going to be doing trade in between Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, not using the dollar. But if any one of those countries wants to do trade with South Korea or Japan or fucking Peru or whatever, Australia, to buy coal, they're going to have to use the dollar, even if they're in the BRICS countries. See, so it's not as big a move. Hey, Pablo. Sorry I didn't say hey when you first stepped in here, brother. And Harry. BRICS money, okay. Fiat is based on the US dollar. That's a wrong perception. Fiat is all paper money that's not backed by anything but faith and confidence or a debt system. That's a fiat in my fiat currency. It's not a sound money currency. So that's what I would believe. Yuan and the ruble will be used as yes. Those two countries will no longer have to use the. Harry said the yuan and ruble will be used as trading, and that is correct. That means China and Russia don't need to use the dollar to trade amongst each other. They can ditch the dollar, but they still need the dollar if they're going to trade with like Greenland, Greece, Japan, Australia. They'll still need the dollar. They just won't need it to hold as many. So in reality, the American dollar is still a world reserve currency at the end of the day. It's just not as strong of a world reserve currency, but it still is a world reserve currency. And the reason why I believe they're doing it this way is because they see 2 years down the road when they're going to need that money to buy oil and natural gas from America. And they don't want to totally screw themselves, but they don't like the dollar being weaponized. And this is their protest for such a thing. That's my belief. Harry, yes, you got it 100% correct. And I think it's going to come. The inflation will come in energy and food. Actually, I just went down to this cheapy ass. It's I call it gross me outlet. It's actually grocery outlet. It's where food goes to die before expiration. All the big food companies that don't have sales, they'll send it all to grocery outlet in this poor neighborhood, and you'll buy stuff. It'll be like a week before it goes bad. So it's at a reduced price. I went down there, got 2 loaves of bread, a small 10-pack of Sprites, and a thing of cheese. It cost me 30 freaking bucks. I was like, ooh, food inflation is hitting. So what I suggest to everyone on my show right now is today, tomorrow, next Friday, whenever you get paid, set aside everything. Pick up some extra food that'll last, because food prices, if we go into hyperinflationary food prices, the more you have now, it's going to be like times 10 money savings, not have to look to see if you can even buy it later. So you're doing yourself a great financial service by getting, and also with what happened with Russia and Ukraine, no more grain shipments. And India, I just did a show on this a day or two ago. India's stopping all wheat and rice exports. They're the largest exporter in the world. America's like the 4th exporter of wheat and rice. So India's stopping because they need to feed their own people. You know what that's called? It's called an indicator. India's saying, hey, there's going to be food problems, and we're keeping our food here to take care of our people. They're being a good country, good government to their people. You get the point, though. The prices are going to go up because what is all this stuff used in? The wheat and the flour. Russia's not exporting any either. So the prices of everything that uses those products is going to go through the roof. And like I said, I'm already seeing it at the cheapy store. I couldn't imagine what it's like. I mean, I go to Costco for most of my purchases, and the prices haven't gone up that much. But I went to this non-big store, and the prices were outrageously high. William, you always ask me things I am unaware of. You are awesome, dude. I freaking love you. Any comment on the reported Norwegian phosphate deposit? I hadn't even heard it. I will look into it, though. Man, you know, William, I got my email listed. Get it and email me and feed me this info so I can like look into it. So that way I'm not looking as ignorant on these subjects that you're bringing up, man. It's awesome. I love it. I love learning new things. I never knew anything about that, but I do want to learn. Google it. Yeah, but now you're telling me, and that's understandable. But I mean, like, you don't have to wait to live streams to drop all this good info on me, man. And let's see here. No more exports. Yes, grain is over with in the Black Sea. The Ukrainians, and this is why, took and put some soldiers on a grain ship to get close to the bridge so they could fire at it and just damage the bridge. And because of that, Russia retaliated, destroying a lot of infrastructure. As a matter of fact, I think I did a video on it yesterday. I think I did a video on it. They destroyed the granaries. They destroyed the ports. They destroyed the loading docks for grain. They destroyed a lot of grain shit in Ukraine because of what Ukraine did. Ukraine is just a punk little fucking country ran by jerks that are looking to screw us all over, and they're doing a wonderful job. And we're paying them. But, whatever. I said that to Yankee from Yankee Stacking. I don't watch him because he and I got into it before this Ukraine got too serious. And he was a big supporter of Ukraine. And I said, buddy, you barking up the wrong tree, and you're being so anti-American by backing Ukraine because you don't know what Ukraine is. And I told him Ukraine has war crime commissions going against them by the EU and the European Council. They're being investigated by like 13, 14, 15, so many countries for corruption. Ukraine is just the biggest crap hole country out there. The people are great. I'm sure they're great. Just like Americans are great, but our government sucks ass. Well, their government sucks ass too. Yeah. My grandfather on my mom's side, her dad, lived to 98 years old, and he was in better shape and had better mental functions than the dude at the White House right now. And he actually even knew the difference between right and wrong all the way up until his deathbed, which is something I can't say for Mr. Budin. Budin the Trudin. But I don't let that shit affect me. It is what it is, and anything that you can't change, don't stress out over it. Just make appropriate moves to protect, shield, whatever, yourself until the situation's over with. Because if you can't do anything about it, stressing over it's doing nothing but suiciding yourself. And that's stupid. You need to stay positive, know that this too shall pass, and drive on. Actually, right now, everyone should be keeping somewhat of a diary as far as maybe economical or socially or whatever. So that way you can pass it on to your kids and grandkids, letting them know how things occur, how they really occur, and not how history will tell them. So that way you can pass on to the next generation. When this shit happens again in 100 years, they can go to your diary and say, well, it went this way last time, said great-great-granddad or great-great-grandma, because I've been looking for books on the Depression and trying to read up on that stuff to get clues as to, and I don't think we're going to have a depression. I think, again, and I stated this about a year and a half ago, I think what we're going through is what's going to be known as the Forgotten Depression. Same thing that happened in 1922 before the Roaring 20s. 100-year cycle, 1923. And it'll be over quick. And we'll have the roaring, booming 20s, and we're going to have a real crash in 2029, 2030. That's my personal feelings. Because a lot of information is being put out there, and people are all forgetting all the yesterday's information for all the today's information. But yesterday's information said there's a 100-year cycle coming to an end, and an 80 and a 50. People don't talk about it anymore. Well, Pablo, then your great-great-great-grandkids should be buying silver and platinum. Because I was told by several coin shop owners and people in the business that they're having problems keeping up with what I'm saying because I'm like 10 steps ahead of the game. And one of those coin shops just tried to order 100 ounces, just 100, a small number, 100 ounces of platinum. And the dealer told him, anyway, hey, put in the comments what you think the dealer told them when they said, hey, we'd like to order 100 platinum ounces. What did the dealer tell them? Holy shit, William, under 10. That's like what? 15,000? Anyhow, the dealer told the coin shop, no, you cannot have 100 platinum ounces because we can't get them. You can only have 40% of your order. 40% of your order. They ordered 100 ounces. This is a coin shop going to one of the bigger distributors saying, hey, I'd like to order 100 ounces of platinum. And the big distributor said, don't have that many. Sorry, we can only afford to get you 40. Just to let you know, if you think there might be a platinum squeeze going on or no one talking about it or something, just in case, there's an indicator for you. You take care. Thank you for stopping by, MJ. Take care of those animals out there. Make sure they get taken care of. It's going to be hot down there. Make sure they got water and shade. And you take care of your parents as well. And I'll talk to you later, girl. Bye-bye. Buy some silver and some platinum. Be kind, helpful, and grateful because it's better than being a jerk. Have yourself a great weekend. End of the weekend. But yeah, I just wanted to get this out because I saw a live stream and what they were talking about. And I was like, it's quite possible you're leading people like lemmings off the side of the fucking cliff. And I can't have that. So I had to do a live stream, tell you guys my thoughts on what BRICS will be. And I'm pretty sure I'm right. And another thing, just on a side note, investment possibilities, whatever you guys feel is up at the stock market, whatever, if it's going to crash or whatever. Impala Mines is the second largest platinum miner in South Africa. Their stock was like $17.50, $18. It's now like $7.50, $10 off of its high, which is about it's 65, 70%, 65% below its high right now. It'll probably drop a little lower, but it might be a good time to buy. They pay dividends. It's only like $7.50, $7 per stock. I'm going to pick up 10 every time when I'm working. I'll pick up 10 of their shares a week. But I'm the platinum guy. I'm interested in platinum. Other than that, I would never spend $7.50 on a damn stock. That's too expensive for my blood. All right, people, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. I think I have gotten out all the information that I wanted to get out about BRICS and what I believe it's going to be and how I believe it's going to affect us. And I don't think it's going to be as big a deal as people are putting on it. Things will still happen bad that are happening. That's not going to change. The war in Ukraine is still going to go on. South Africa is still going to have power issues, blah, 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 blah. Although here shortly, one day, in the near future, I don't know how long it takes to build an SMR, but Rolls-Royce has contracted with several countries, for which I still don't know which countries, to build SMRs. So whatever countries those are, it could be an overnight shift in their economies from negative to positive because they'll no longer have power issues. But that's to be determined. All right, you guys, God bless America and everyone here. Thank you very much for showing up and listening to my spiel on what I believe the BRICS currency will not be and what it will be and how it won't have that big effect on us, because I have a feeling that all those countries know that we're going to be selling oil and natural gas, and they want to buy it, except for Russia. They all want to buy it. So they're not going to be too much of a dickheads to us. They're just trying to put a message out to the world that they hate Biden's political regime and how he weaponizes the dollar against people for his own personal gain and not for America, in my opinion. Which is everything I talk about. It's just my opinion. Anyhow, guys, you guys have a great day. Enjoy your Sunday. Get out there, do some canoeing, do some kayaking, chase some girls around the yard, chase some boys around the yard. Have a good time. But always be kind, helpful, and grateful. And always think about buying some silver and some platinum. And possibly like, share, and subscribe. Talk to you later.